My name is Daniel Wyke, and I'm a 22-year-old Catholic libertarian. I'm very interested by the world around me and the array of different kinds of people I get to meet. I enjoy learning about different religions and political philosophies. I love learning about history and why we think the way we do. I like to think deep thoughts. Small talk usually bores me, and I personally don't think people talk about what matters most in life. Contrary to the popular saying, I think the two things we should be talking about the most are religion and politics, because those two things have influenced history and our lives the most. We must discuss these things, especially how intrusive the state has become in our personal lives. The present government we have is getting larger and larger, and more of our liberties are being taken away. People can be killed just by the single word of the president. We can be detained without a fair trial. We are $16 trillion in debt. The Federal Reserve is destroying the purchasing power of our money, while politically connected bankers and businessmen destroy the middle class and small businesses with burdensome regulations. We have the largest prison population in the world because we throw people in prison for countless victimless crimes that really do ruin their lives, usually much more than whatever vice they were doing. I would add to all this all of our countless wars we are involved in that our armed servicemen and women are being injured and killed from, and the American people aren't very well sure if any of this is actually making us any safer. I wish all the troops could come home and we could only go to war when it is really necessary, and the government would start taking serious the Christian just war doctrine formulated by St. Thomas Aquinas. On top of this, and I believe most importantly, 50 million unborn children have died from legal abortion since 1973. The federal government needs to stop subsidizing this and allow the issue to go back to the states. This is what the Constitution says. As Ron Paul has said, how can we defend liberty if we don't defend life? If you don't have life, how can you exercise your liberty? Ron Paul has alerted me to all these problems I have just mentioned. He is a man of principles, and even people who disagree with him say that he is consistent. Something you can't say about most politicians. You know what you are going to get with Ron Paul. Ron Paul's message of liberty is something that anyone can embrace. It doesn't matter if you're an atheist, an agnostic, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Protestant, Orthodox, or Catholic Christian, a teetotaler, or a libertine. Ron Paul's message can resonate with you, because the one thing we all want is our freedom. I personally have my own views on what would make this world a better place, but it all starts with liberty. I would call myself a cultural conservative on social issues, which means I want to promote the family, which I understand at its perfection as one man and one woman being together for life and being open to life. I also disagree with people using harmful drugs, pornography, prostitution, deviant sexual acts, and other such vices. But even though I am against these things, I do not advocate for the outlawing of these things, because I believe people should be free to make their own choices, and they will have to accept personal responsibility for their actions and live with the consequences. I will use everything in my power to persuade people not to do these vices, but I will never use violence, at most using the violence of the state. I will only use friendship, discussion, and debate. The things that the law should be concerned with are the violation of another person's right to their life, liberty, and property. Things like murder, including abortion, rape, kidnapping, and theft. Some of the things I do for the pro-liberty movement is I write for the pro-liberty website defineliberty.com, and I am one of the hosts of the show The Catholic Anarchists. We discuss things like religion, history, politics, music, philosophy, and economics on The Catholic Anarchists. I talk with my friends and family members about the message of liberty. I support pro-liberty politicians. I try to support the free market in my everyday life, even though it is becoming smaller and smaller every day. I try to educate myself on the current events of the world, and most importantly, the events the news media is not telling us. Thank you, Ron Paul, for everything you do, for exposing me to the message of liberty and being a breath of fresh air in the stingy, disgusting air of politics. Thank you for showing me that the left and right spectrum is false, and really the spectrum is between freedom and tyranny. It is between myself and the state.